Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how you intimidate them. Your energy, your aura, your vibes, your being is very intimidating. I used to process this part as being scared, which I understand some of them are to a certain degree. But what I've been running into lately and more fluently, and then some of the old ones I engage with, I tend to want to go back and ask questions if they tend to pop back up. I got one of them weird spirits that, if I'm curious about something, I kind of want to see what kind of words they choose to use to put out there. And I had one person recently who disappeared on me, pop back up, because they always pop back up around, And they mentioned, I had asked them, why they get low. It really didn't matter, but I was looking for the lessons, and I was looking for another way around my usual perspective. And when I was asking them, I used the word scared at first, and then something told me, change the vocabulary up, use different words. And I had asked them, so it went from being scared to asking them, are they intimidated? And they actually said, yes, you can be a little intimidating. And I was just thinking to myself, yo, that's wild that I smile, I laugh, I love, I give a lot of light and energy. And it's crazy that people could still see me in an intimidating manner. How you gonna take this as intimidating? Maybe if you getting ready to cross that line with me or something, you know that you're gonna have to put some work in. But outside of that, it's I never really perceive it that way, because that's not the energy or vibes that I live in. I know a lot of us aren't those beings who walk around bullying people. Bullying is not something we do. We don't walk around trying to instill fear into beings. We're actually teaching and showing them different methods of how to remove some of the fear and scarcity in their life. I was glad that at least this being, was brave enough to kind of be a little bit more honest or use those words and agree, because it helped me process just life and some of the other beings that we have that just ghost us throughout life, that just disappear on us. It seems like you in good vibrations or it's decent vibrations. There hasn't been anything that really happened, but then they still tend to disappear. We tend to intimidate them with our energy and our vibes. One, because we are genuine in our being. We are organic. We know ourselves. This is not for the ones who claim to be lost. We aren't lost. Even when these beings run into us, they know what time it is. We know what time it is. And a lot of the other beings who tended to disappear or ghost or leave out or do that little thing that they do where they just vanish. They put the magician's, little, what is it, the little sheet up, and then they drop it and they gone. How fast they a lot of them were intimidated as well. What we do is we are a mirror to a lot of these beings, and what we're not mirroring, they tend to get a little jealous of, and it puts them in a space of, one, they have to deal with the insecurities and things that they aren't doing because they're looking into this mirror. And then for two, they get jealous because they aren't us, so they don't really have the momentum. They cannot figure out how to reroute their thought process from the inside. So it keeps them in that cycle, in that loop of, oh, I gotta distract myself, I gotta distract myself, I gotta distract myself. Oh, they seem like some pretty cool people. They seem like good vibes and a good time. Then they get over there with good vibes and a good time, And they realize, oh shit, all right, she's saying things that, is making me self-reflect. He's saying things that's making me self-reflect. I don't want to do any self-reflecting. I don't want to look at myself. The beings on the other side of the spectrum that's intimidating is not that we're walking around trying to bully and be intimidating. They afraid of the God. They afraid of the Creator. They see it within us. You know how we could walk around and say, oh, I seen that demon in them. They see the God in us. They see the Creator in us. We don't use this terminology much, but we always say we see the demon in them. We see the demon. We see the evil in them. Yeah, well, unfortunately, they see the God in us as well too. That's another reason why they always have to double back, because they know that's some of the best fuel and source that they could possibly get. And a lot of them tend to get intimidated as well too, because they can't manipulate us the same way that they can manipulate everybody else. They cannot cast their spells the way that they use their spells on the other people in their previous life and the ones that's been popping up recently. See, we not no cakewalk. Even with us just being in their presence or them being in our presence, the spiritual realm is extremely active. So even you sitting beside somebody silent is putting them in an intimidating space, because they're always in a compare and contrast mode. So now they're like, damn, his energy, her energy is really peaceful. It's like, and they're sitting over here beside you silent. Y'all both silent, but you can tell. I've sat beside people before, and I could tell that they have extremely chaotic energy. I could tell that they're really nervous. I can tell that that little being inside of them is scared. The same way they could feel that on the other side of the spectrum. A lot of us just don't tend to discuss it. They get intimidated because they see that God in us, that Creator in us. They know what they have to face. They know the things that they have to do, in order to operate in that godly and that Creator light, and just keeping it on like a simple form. Like, if a man, I'm just using this one because I'm a man, but in a man's world, if we giving somebody the time of day and the energy, and they may be a little bit overweight, you being fit and in shape is making them reflect. And if you don't help them out in the right manner, they're going to utilize that against you. So their pity party, their insecurities, it all bounces back. And then the way they communicate and engage with you is going to affect this and this up here. And it's going to start to wear and tear on you, because you're going to feel as though you doing something when really this being was already in a lower insecure space, And what happens with this is you got men and women being in competition. We're not supposed to be in competition with each other. Men and men can be in competition with each other. Women and women, y'all know y'all be in competition with each other. But man and woman, we shouldn't be in competition with each other. And the intimidation part is not anything that's really going to be in our control. We are who we are. We ride with the team we ride with. So as far as what you can do to not be intimidating to others is not be around them, And even if you're not around them, you're still in their inner space. When you think about people, you're still in their inner space. They're in your inner space. And we always understand that when they use the terminology soul ties. You don't have to be sexually engaged with someone to create a soul tie or to permanently embed yourself in here and in here. Sometimes your vibration and your impact and your presence is more than enough to leave a big old dent inside the spiritual realm, And a lot of the beings that do disappear and ghost on you, it puts you in a weird space when they do it. But you just have to understand, it wasn't anything that was in your power. They understood that they was connected to some darker sources of energy. You was moving in the godly light. This is one reference that we have to become more familiar with. because everyone is not operating on demon time. It's a lot of beings operating on demon time. It's a lot of sheep who are following demons. The sheep are the ones that don't have the ill intention. They're just moving with the masses. The masses is being witchy and demonic, so they're gonna be witchy and demonic. But you'll notice the difference because the sheep are more subjective. They're a little bit more kinder. They help out a little bit more. They do things that is a little bit more friendlier, and they actually mean it. That's how you can always tell the difference between the sheeps and the full-out self-aware witches and warlords that's in that space. Once you get to a point of understanding that people are gonna peel out on you regardless, you know, it's gonna be something you said, something you done. It could just be your presence. It don't matter what kind of reason they process it and think of it as. You have to figure out a way to cut ties spiritually in here and in here, because it's easy to get away from people physically. That's the easy part. The hard part is when they're constantly passing through your inner space. That's where it gets a little tricky and it gets a little frustrating, and you have to work a little bit harder at getting away from them, because it does affect us to a certain degree when you have a free-flowing relationship. I don't want to say healthy, but it could be free-flowing friendship, free-flowing spousalship, whatever it is. You know, you could be just talking to somebody, y'all just now starting to talk, and then boom, voila, they disappear on you. If you was driving your car for a full year and then one day you just went and got on it and didn't start, it's gonna affect you to a certain degree. It's not gonna end your world, but you're gonna be like, oh shit, you wasn't planning that. You knew every other day previously that your car was working. Today you get up in it to start it and it's not running. Now you got some things to start figuring out, and you have to adjust fast on the fly. You have to adjust fast on the fly. But the intimidation is always going to be there, because it's not really us, the physical vessel. You know, they see how light our spirit is. They see how joyful we always are. They see how we constantly picking them up on top of picking ourselves up, even when we not in the best space, you know. And a lot of these things, it seems very intimidating and scary to them, because they understand where it's coming from. They know that it's coming from the Creator. That's why they chose the path that they chose. It's not like they're unaware. They aren't doing this blindly or naively. No, they chose this playbook as a form of survival, or as a means to be just greedy, or because they want to. So don't run yourself rampant or like minimize the worry, minimize the concern, minimize the questions when people are doing these things. Because a lot of them are just intimidated by the Creator. The same way we get away from these demons and people disappear and ghost us, they know the vibes that light and that dark is not going to mix. One of them is going to outpower the other one. And if you a solid being, that light is going to outpower that darkness every single time. You know what I mean? But I ain't want to run it up too long. They are intimidated by that Creator vibe, that godly vibe, you know what I mean? And that's just something that's just there for us. That's in us innately, you know. It was there even when we wasn't aware that it was there. So we always being looked out for. We always being held down, no matter the obstacles, trials, and tribulations, you know what I mean? I appreciate all the love and support too. I definitely be down in the comments and tapping in. If y'all got any subjects or anything else, you know, just throw them down below. I definitely be tapped in, and appreciate all the love and support. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.